Does your sense of journalism come in and demand certain things be done because they're good stories and they serve the public good?
I think today the journalist, the pure journalist, is being compromised and has to compromise in the name of good business and in the name of public appeal. You've got to face the reality that I've been talking about.
Minneapolis, Minnesota. Clean streets, clean air, clean politics. It's a city that takes itself seriously, and that's the way it seems to want its news as well. Among the stations serving Minneapolis and its twin city, St. Paul, is one of local television's most respected stations, WCCO, the alma mater of such network journalists as Susan Spencer, Phil Jones, Barry Peterson, and Tom Pettit. Walter Cronkite almost became anchorman here in 1957. But when he stayed in New York, his place was taken by David Dalrymple Moore, an actor. But over the years, Moore turned into the genuine article. In a city that takes its news straight, he came to represent the old virtues.
The sorrow that is visiting so many of us rigid and flexible purists comes not just from the thought of the Twins playing baseball under a roof, but the very thought that they're going to be tearing this place down. This baseball stadium, one of the 3 best in the world, this last bastion of baseball stability, is only 25 years old. Tearing it down and replacing it with an antiseptic plastic marketing and housing complex is another victory for industrial greed. Next year, this baseball team will be playing out its comic opera in a convention hall that stands as a monument to man's fascination for the vulgar and the tacky. When the game's over, I'm going to sit here for just a few minutes and weep.
Do you see yourself more as a performer or as a newsman?
I guess probably as a performer. It's probably half and half. I wonder what kind of an answer you'd get. Well, I know what answer you'd get from Walter Cronkite. You'd get, the answer would be newsman. But he'll have to admit he's a performer because people do not naturally talk like this. Meanwhile, in Sofia, Bulgaria today, when you sit down here and appear before the camera and read the news, you take on the mantle of a performer, and I think he's candid enough to admit that. So of course we're performers. The lights, the cameras, we have to be performers. The perfectly knotted tie, the hair in place, the makeup, no slouching, to the proper camera, everything is meticulous. We are performers. Performing a newsperson's job.
In the process of doing that, do you become a newsman? Have you become a newsman?
I think probably I have by proxy. Just by time I have become one. I think I have the judgment, a good editorial judgment. I think as I am aware of when a story is sliced too closely to knock out vital information. I think I know what is the proper lead story for that particular newscast and which one is not. We have many arguments about that here. I am not a formally trained journalist, but I think I have become one by doing it. Ah, God damn it, this. Okay, everybody be calm. Everybody be calm!
The news is on the air.
Who talks first?
But the news set demands a new kind of musical anchor chairs between stories.
A chair. Hey, I'll take
In his 27 years on air, Moore has won DuPont and Peabody Awards, but never has he had to cope with anything like this before.
Oh, the world is... Was it Wordsworth? The world is too much with me? No, that wasn't Wordsworth. Maybe James T. Farrell. I don't understand technology. What the hell did she do with this? When you're putting little kids' toys together, you know, it comes in a box, unassembled. I could never find the dotted line A that goes to the solid line B when you put the leg into the base of whatever toy it is you're fixing. I don't see space and technical concepts. They don't come to me. And here we are awash in technology. See how
Shelby does that. Turns around, lo and behold, find Dale Dobish overlooking a very bleak day in the Twin Cities metropolitan area. Where, Dale?
Well, Dave, we're out on the south
Like
side.
most ambitious news departments, WCCO has its helicopter. It has all the state-of-the-art electronic equipment for its new set and studios. The station spent $18 million for it, and also paid for the first Washington, D.C. bureau of a local TV station, beamed by satellite nightly into the newsroom.
Take the mic. Take the mic. There's the mic.
There's a mic.
You got it?
You can take your pad.
Where are we going?
You've met the Laurel and Hardy dance team, haven't you?
But for Moore, it's all a bit too much. All he's trying to do is present the news and keep on winning awards with one of the country's best local documentary units, the Moore Report.
I think what the public needs is information about their communities. Everyone knows, of course, you can't put a 56-page newspaper into a 22-minute newscast. I don't think we cover the city halls as well as we used to. People say, oh, I get all my news from television. I want to wring their necks, say, you don't get all your news from television. People who don't know who their legislators are, who don't know the names of their county commissioners, people who don't know where to go. The newspaper is able to provide all that kind of information. Yeah, I think it's symptomatic of a problem in the business that we're giving so much attention to facade, how we look, surface, the set, the lights. We can do it from Xanadu. For my feelings about it, as long as we don't shortchange the news content of the shows. I don't like sitting here, well, your audience can't see it, but I sit here in a desk and my co-anchor sits across the studio from me and I talk to her on a screen over here. I don't know. I don't know if that's important. I don't know if that's the important kind of thing to do.
Is it important? I asked one of America's best-known television newsmen, CBS correspondent Charles Kuralt.
When I left my hometown newspaper and came to work in broadcasting, I remember being awfully confused by the lights and the cameras and all that, and yearning for the day when I could carry just a notebook and a pencil. See, I've never lost the habit. Everywhere I go, I still carry the old notebook, expecting someday maybe to take some notes. Eric Severide never got used to all this, the lights and cameras. He said it was like being nibbled to death by ducks. And one day when he was feeling particularly grumpy about the apparatus of television, I heard him murmur, "One good word is worth 1,000 pictures." I mean, I think we could settle for an old oak desk with a chair for a sensible human being to sit in and give the news. I've always thought that the viewers are underrated a little bit. People are smarter than many a set designer or news consultant or station manager thinks. And they know that razzle-dazzle is razzle-dazzle. Maybe the hope is that some of the stations that do a good news job will serve as examples to others. I mean, I suppose that's the only hope there is. This is a notoriously copycat kind of business, and if something seems to work in one community, you can be sure that a dozen other communities will be trying it tomorrow. And maybe they'll try journalism for a change.
And what about the kids? What do they see as their models? You spoke of your models when you came into the business. What is it they're being taught when they look at the local news should be their models?
Well, as I say, I don't think there are very many worthy models on the air at local stations. There are some, as we know, and there are some good reporters at local stations today. But by and large, a kid growing up thinking about journalism in an American community today will find his models, his good ones, down in the city room of the local paper, I'm afraid. And I mean, I wouldn't want to copy the journalistic style of most of the television stations in the country today if I were starting out.
In local television news, it's hard to survive long enough even to become a role model. And when you do, as a local anchorman we talked to made clear, the pressures to get on board the glitz and glitter machine keep on building. Ralph Rennick, Jerry Dunphy, and Dave Moore are survivors in a business which increasingly rewards style and youth, too often at the expense of basic news content. They've endured, sometimes with their independence and news values intact, sometimes not. We began this program by asking, what's a nice guy like you doing on local TV news? We conclude with another question. In 5 or 10 years, when these veterans are gone, who and what will be left? For Inside Story, I'm Harding Carter.
What do you want from your local TV news? We'd like your opinion. Write Inside Story, P.O. Box 913, New York, New York, 10101.
Inside Story is a production of the Press and the Public Project. For a transcript of this program, please send $3 to PTV Publications, Post Office Box 701, Kent, Ohio 44240.
Schools, colleges, and other organizations can obtain a video cassette of this program by writing PBS Video, P.O. Box 8092, Washington, D.C. 20024.